The National Trust is famous worldwide for its spectacular properties, but its gardens and its landscapes are equally stunning. I'm Jane Moore, and in this series with the National Trust's official partner STIHL, I'm going behind the scenes to see just what it takes to maintain and manage these amazing spaces. Today, I'm here at Overbecks Garden in Devon, and we'll be looking at a fantastic array of plants from all over the world that thrive in this very sheltered microclimate. Plus, we'll be getting down to detail with some inspiration for fabulous pots and containers. But first, let's meet the head gardener, Ian. Hi, Ian.
Hi, Jane. Nice to meet you.
Lovely to meet you, and it's so lovely to be here because this is a garden I've wanted to visit for a long time because it is truly unique, isn't it? The microclimate here is so special.
Yeah, we're in a really amazing space. We've got the sea just over there, which keeps us warm in the winter and cool in the summer. And then we're protected from the westerly winds by a bank by the cliff up behind us.
It is so very sheltered, isn't it? And that means that you can really try growing some real subtropical plants,
Oh,
can't
absolutely.
you?
I mean, we don't really get any frost. There's a tiny little bit of grass frost in the winter, but really nothing very much. And yeah, we can really grow some really quite interesting plants.
I mean, things that I wouldn't dream of growing outdoors, you grow here as full-grown shrubs and, you know, house plants and things.
Absolutely. I mean, I've only been here 6 months, and whenever I find a new plant that I don't know, and I look at it or ask what it is and find out it's a house plant, or alternatively, like you say, it's something that you would have seen somewhere else, but it would get knocked back by the frost repeatedly. Yeah. And in this garden, it's grown into be a full-grown tree. So yeah, it's amazing.
I'm really looking forward to seeing sort of more of these tropical plants, but there's quite a few sort of interesting ones just in this little space, isn't there?
There's lots of interesting plants around here. So particularly in this garden, there's a kind of history of encouraging self-seeding and things that really like to grow here. So we've got a bank of Chilean myrtle, which we've grown, which came from self-seeding from the trees above, and we've clipped them into kind of topiary forms.
That is so unusual. I've never seen Chilean myrtle clipped as topiary. I mean, you hardly ever see Chilean myrtle outside of sort of Devon and Cornwall anyway, do you?
We're on the shoulders of previous gardeners who've come before, who've not only gardened in this amazing microclimate, but then, pushed things and tried different things. So yeah, that's and yeah, like I say, being able to use those self-seeded plants that really like it here. In fact, there's something I really want to go show you. Can I show you something else?
Absolutely. Yeah, I just love it when things sort of self-seed around.
It's amazing, isn't it?
Wonderful,
yeah, it's definitely
aren't they?
An important part of gardening.
Oh, wow, my God. So this is all self-seeded?
Yeah, absolutely. So the original house that was here on this plot was smaller. So when they built this bigger house, they kind of just chipped away at this bank. And they've left us with this kind of amazing, sort of very damp area with bits of soil and bits of rock in here.
And things have just
where all these plants
in.
have just seeded in, yes.
Including tree ferns?
Yeah, absolutely, including the tree ferns.
I don't think I've ever seen so many tree ferns in one sort of small area.
Yeah.
And they're quite old, aren't they?
Oh, yeah.
Some of them?
Yeah, so as gardeners, we manage this space, just kind of, gently taking out the things we don't want to seed in here. So lots of St. John's wort and that kind of thing. Yeah. But yeah, just managing it, just to encourage the things we want, including the tree ferns.
There's so much going on here, isn't there? There's primulas and foxgloves, plus all these tree ferns, but you've also got a few weed trees, what I would think of as weed trees.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we can't remove these because we don't want that wall up there to fall on us. So we just gently take the leaves off every few months and just kind of discourage those and encourage the things.
So they're ending up as these weird sort of bonsai almost, aren't they?
Yeah.
But their roots are probably doing quite a good job of stabilising the ground here, aren't they?
So yeah, not a very formal part of the garden at all, but I really love this kind of self-seeding and that kind of thing.
Absolutely, so do I. But I would like to see some of the more formal areas as well.
Absolutely, come with me.
Hi, Sam.
Hello, you all right?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. Ian sent me along to see the statue garden, and he said that you would be able to tell me a bit about it.
Yeah, sure, no problem. Well, it's originally a tennis court, as you could probably pick out with the dimensions.
Yes.
But in the early 1920s, more planting space was needed, and these 4 rectangular beds were cut into the turf.
It's much better than a tennis court, isn't it?
I think so, yeah. So at the moment, we've got the end of a Lauren's great poppy.
Oh, I know. Now, Ian said, because we've been talking a lot about self-seeding, and Ian said that you had pretty much thrown some seeds in here.
Yeah, I've gone a bit crazy with them, yeah.
They look absolutely fantastic, don't they?
I think so, yeah. They work really well with the Nautia. They pick up on the same sort of colour schemes.
Absolutely, and with the cannas coming through as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, will they come through from seed?
They will do. I mean, we do a bit of thinning out of anything with a bit of genetic variation.
Right.
Something that comes through a little bit paler.
Right.
We'll hoik that out before they start seeding around.
So you're constantly sort of refining your stock.
Yeah.
And then will you re-sow them back in here? Because they do look rather fabulous.
We will do. We'll go again next year. We obviously, there's going to be a few gaps where...
I'd just ask you about that. Yeah, there are going to be a few gaps, aren't there?
But we plan for succession, so they'll be replaced by a lot of annuals that we're growing in the greenhouse.
Some of the half-hardies, like those cleomes, I saw some cleomes and
that
things.
sort of thing. And then, so it will go from this sort of fairly sort of pastel-y sort of colour theme, and then it'll go for all the headache-inducing hot colours.
Really
like
vibrant.
Yeah, so the red, oranges and yellows.
Absolutely. And these canners, I mean, do you leave them in all year round?
Yeah, we're really lucky in that respect, pretty much everything you see stays outside with minimal protection, really.
I mean, they're catching the light beautifully and they're going to provide such a lovely backdrop to all the plants that you're going to put in.
We often get asked how we get them so large, and they just the climate we've got, and they do really like, they're quite hungry plants, so they quite like a lot of nutrition, so we give them a load of spent mushroom compost.
And that really makes them thrive, yes. Oh, that's a good tip, I shall remember that. I'd love to see some more of these subtropical plants, especially, Sam. Can you point me in the right direction?
Well, definitely. If we go over this wall here, all along this east boundary, we've got the banana garden, but it's all filled with loads of subtropical things.
Great, I shall go and find it. Thank you.
Cheers.
Gosh, Ian, this place is an absolute oasis. I mean, I've grown bananas as a pot plant at home, but nothing like this.
So this is probably the most sheltered bit of the garden, so we call it the banana garden, and you can see why.
Absolutely. I think you should change the name. I think it's the Banana Grove, really, isn't it? But you've got loads of subtropicals in here, haven't you? It's not just all about the bananas, although they are rather show stealers.
No, absolutely, yeah. So there's the Hedychium, the ginger lilies that are just starting to grow, and then we also have this amazing Fuchsia boliviana.
I've been spotting that around and about the garden, and it's another one of your self-seeders, isn't it? Because it's seeded itself into the wall.
It's gone in the wall there, so yeah. And then we also have Angel's Trumpets, so Brugmansia. That grows in the cloud forests. It's actually best early in the year and later in the year. So most of this garden is at its best kind of August, September time when the leaves are really full. But that actually doesn't like that much dry heat.
And it likes, a bit of dampness, doesn't it? But there's such an array of plants that you can grow here. It's absolutely breathtaking. I mean, you've got lemon trees and Swiss cheese plant and things like that. Now, I guess they probably go in.
Yeah, some of the bits in the pots went in for the winter, but yeah, we're always experimenting with what we can grow outside, what we can keep out through the winter. And so there's some things in here where we just put a little pile of mulch on the top of them, just the more tender things. But yeah, it's fun.
Just to give them that little winter blanket.
More for us than for them, to be honest. Yeah, it's fun to try and see what we can keep growing outside.
Yeah, absolutely. I am looking forward to seeing what else you are trying to grow here over the next few years, because it must be just constant experimentation.
Yeah, absolutely. So, that's part of the spirit of the garden. So,
absolutely. Well, I might not be able to grow banana trees, but I think I can probably manage a few more of the pot-sized plants. It would be nice to go and have a look at what James has been doing with his pots.
Follow me. It's this
Thank
way.
you. Hi, James.
Hiya.
It is lovely to see these pots. They really are quite a drama, aren't they?
Yeah. That was the sort of intention, to sort of follow on from the tulips, have a sort of a long season of display. So, kind of ironically for pots, the flowers are kind of playing second fiddle to the foliage.
Absolutely, but I like doing that with my pots as well. I'm really keen on pots, and I use a lot of ferns, as you've been using as well. But I don't use things like this, I must admit. I hadn't thought about using an alocasia.
Well, we did have our aracemas as well, the cobra lilies, but unfortunately they've just started to go over. We've just sort of got hints of them here, but they were fantastic with their kind of stripy stems.
But these are a houseplant, aren't they? Really? Most of the time.
I mean, obviously they're not quite as tender as the alocasias, but here we're quite lucky we can get away with them pretty much growing all year.
Yeah. And I think people don't necessarily think about putting their houseplants outside, but actually if you're just doing a bit of a temporary display, it's kind of quite a nice thing to do, isn't it? They quite enjoy it being outside.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't think necessarily like every houseplant's going to get as much out of it, but certainly some will for getting a bit extra sun and a bit of fresh water, as it were, rather than tap water.
Yeah, absolutely. So are there other things that you've used? I mean, I really like this Tucarella sweet tea, which is one of my favourites. I love the name of it.
Yeah. We tried a few different things this year. So we've got an epimedium spine tingler. We've got Hacknacloa.
Yes.
Yeah, this one's Aurea. And then, yeah, we've got things like begonias, deschampsias.
Very pretty, isn't it?
And it's so nice that at the back of the border there, it just kind of gets backlit.
Right.
So you've got that kind of double aspect. And also it's just about picking up colours, you know, like picking up the pinks through the stem there.
I think that's what I rather like about these pots, is that you've repeated the themes all the way through with some slight variations, you know, like the Hacknacloa and the Brunnera there in the more shady areas. And it's really nice that the colours are all the same, but as you say, hardly any flowers unless you count the grass flowers.
Well, I think the thing is, like, the tulips were great and, you know, they're a real impactful
real
thing.
show.
Yeah, exactly. And then, but the thing is that they're done and that's it. And that's the thing, this has to work quite hard. And the other premise with this is the fact that they've got these pots will have a second life. So for instance, in front of you, these heucheras were in the pots last year.
So unlike bedding plants, you're kind of getting two bangs for your buck, aren't you? In that you're buying a perennial plant that you can then put in the garden.
Yeah, and you know, that's something that we're quite keen on here.
And I guess, do you ring the changes with your colour schemes and your ideas each year?
My thinking was to pick up the brickwork. So you know that you've got all the different colours, so you've got these blacks and oranges and pinks all coming through the brickwork.
Yeah.
So that was kind of where I started and then just sort of built off there really. And then just sort of
from there.
Yeah, well, I think that's the thing, isn't it? A lot of these kind of, if it's a border or a pot, whatever, you just start with something that's a link piece and then you go from there and build it up.
Yeah. It's given me a few ideas for my pots. I'm definitely going to attack my houseplants and start using those outside a bit more, I think. Thank you so much, James. And thank you so much for joining us here at Overbecks. It has been the most delightful garden and a super day. For more ideas and inspiration from the National Trust gardeners like James, please do subscribe to the STIHL GB YouTube channel. See you next time.